Hi, thanks for being here. Could we start with you telling us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name's Sally Carr and I work here as the Operational Director at LGBT Youth North West, which essentially means that I'm responsible for the different provisions that the young people go to. So we've got a group in Stockport and Wythenshawe here in the city centre and some other provisions as well. And my job is to ensure that those provisions run, that they're staffed, that they've got a good programme and that the work that is delivered is of a high quality.
So what made you want to become a youth worker?
I think growing up I'd always been involved in some kind of community activism. So when I was younger, as at junior school, I set up a five-a-side football team in my neighbourhood. And the school I went to was a distance from my neighbourhood. So at school, I also set up a five-a-side team and the two teams played each other. And it was jolly and it was fun. And, you know, largely speaking, it was nonsense, but it just brought people together and some kind of commonality. And then when I was a little bit older, I joined a community theatre company. And that was brilliant because it introduced me to political theatre. And it was a non-traditional theatre company, and we did productions such as Bertolt Brecht's The Good Woman of Szechuan. And that really opened my eyes about what was possible politically. And from there I set up my own young women's community theatre company called Makeshift and persuaded my sixth form teacher to drive us to the Edinburgh Festival, and we performed at the Edinburgh Festival and we slept in a church hall and it was just brilliant. I've no idea how we afforded it, but we managed to make it happen. And then my friend Catherine said that we should do some ballet. So at about 16 we went to a ballet class with these 4-year-olds, and me and Catherine were brilliant in comparison to these 4-year-olds. And there I met this youth worker called Sue, and she said, you should come and volunteer at my youth club. And I said, oh, okay. And that's how I got into it. So I went and volunteered at a youth club in Tameside that was a mainstream generic youth club, but also had a young women's group, and part of my job was to programme the young women's group. So from the outset, I guess I've always been interested in gender-based youth work.
What made you want to get involved in LGBT-specific youth work?
When I was 21, I had some life-changing experiences that made me reassess where I was going in my life and what I was doing. And I knew growing up from about the age of 4 that I was different to the other girls in our class, and I didn't know why I was different. I didn't have the language to explain why I was different. And then when I did learn the language, which essentially was the word lesbian, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because at that time there were very few role models when you were 15, 16, a young lesbian. And I remember getting hold of a copy of The Killing of Sister George, where Beryl Reid played this character Sister George, and she was a butch lesbian, and I thought, I don't want to be like that. And the only role models that existed really were for gay men at that time, and they were particularly role models that were maybe considered more pornographic in nature, such as the drawings by Tom of Finland. And I thought, I don't really fit in there either, so where do I fit in? So in making this kind of reassessment at 21, I recognised that actually I'd come on a journey where I hadn't fitted in and I was uncomfortable with some terms and I had some really negative experiences. So what was I going to do? And at the time I was working as a civil servant, and I decided that because of these experiences I was going to change my life, and I was going to go to university and I was going to train to be a youth worker, because I knew what that was now because I've been doing it voluntarily in this youth club in Tameside. And then I found what was the gay youth group in Manchester at the time and said I'd like to come and volunteer, and I did. I came in 1988 and volunteered. And that is really what engaged me, because I knew from the outset, from that point of change, that I wanted to do something that was positive, that would mean that no LGBT young people would have the same degree of suffering that I had had. And from there it was a commitment, it was like a mission to make that change.
And are there any stories that still surprise you?
Yes, they do. And although legislation has changed, and we see that, and I'm thankful for the changes in legislation. You know, when I was younger, I could have named a catalogue of legislations that were anti-LGBT. I think we've still got a long way to go on legislation around being trans, but particularly for lesbian and gay people, things have changed. So legislation has changed, but what still surprises me are the daily life stories that I hear from young people about their lived experiences of homophobia, biphobia and transphobia. And I picked up a story the other week from one of my staff members whose partner is a teacher, and the school were doing a family day and the teachers were sharing their stories of families, and she was asked not to tell her story, and that really took me aback, because I thought we'd moved on a great deal from that and that we were teaching about inclusivity, etc.
Thank you.
Thank you.